Hey now, what is up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I am still celebrating 80 years of Superman. So I guess we're here to talk about Superman Returns. Superman Returns was a 2006 film directed by Bryan Singer. And no, it's not a reboot. It's not a new reimagining of Superman, even though it's been so many years and decades later. No, this is a continuation of the Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve Superman movies. They're disregarding 3 and 4, though, which I can't say I blame them. But this movie supposedly picks up right after, or sometime after, Superman 2, where the plot is you see Superman, who has left the Earth for 5 years because something happened where there was some debris of Krypton, so he went out there to go investigate it. For some reason, it took him 5 years to do this because he comes back after the world had seemingly moved on or tried to move on. So now they're having to deal with his return. Especially Lois Lane. She's having to deal with his return after moving on, having a new relationship, having a son. But with Superman's return, obviously brings the return of Lex Luthor, who's now rich, and now his new plan is to steal Kryptonian crystals and use it to grow an island of Krypton, I guess. More real estate for Lex. So Superman has to stop him. Now, what I think of Superman Returns is, I do not hate this movie. I don't think it's the worst Superman movie like some people do. I actually enjoy parts of this movie. I guess you could say I have a love-hate relationship with this film because there are things that I appreciate about the film. I appreciate the intent that Bryan Singer had. He clearly was a huge fan of the Donner movies and just that version of the character, that it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense why you would want to keep the John Williams theme. It still sounds great in this movie, and that aesthetic and the tone and everything that the Christopher Reeve Superman meant. Why not continue that? Why not build off of that? It makes sense. It does. But the problem is that it doesn't try to do anything new or different. I almost take that back. There are some ways that the story progresses. There are some ways that they try to do different things with it, but I guess not different enough. Here are some of my issues. At the very beginning, issue number 1, this is a big issue. You tell me that Superman has been gone for 5 years, and I want to know why. I want to know the ins and outs of why he left for that long. Fine, you have a paragraph that says that he left because there was a debris of Krypton, and he went out there to investigate. But why? Why? It's only debris. I guess he was looking for life, potential life, but it's like 5 years? It took you that long? I know that they say Krypton, or at least where it was, is a very far place of the galaxy, so far away that maybe that was it. Or maybe 5 years on Earth was like a couple weeks for Superman. It'd be cool if they said that, because when he comes back, I want him to say, holy crap, I didn't realize I was gone for that long. Sorry, Earth. Sorry for leaving you vulnerable for 5 years. Sorry, Lois, who was head over heels for Superman, and I just left high and dry. I never said goodbye. I never said anything. Wow. Brendan Routh, who plays Superman Clark Kent, I think does a serviceable job. I think he looks the part, especially. He looks great in the costume. His Clark Kent is almost exactly like Christopher Reeve Clark Kent, the bumbling, goofy type who it's all a show, but I like it. You get some cool things that Superman does, like he saves Lois from the airplane, which, yeah, that's classic Superman stuff, so you see him do it here. The effects, though, it's cool, little too much CGI. In fact, throughout all this movie, there is way too much CGI with Superman. In fact, like, yeah, it's 2006, so you're going to use CGI. But there are scenes where it's full-blown CGI, like his face is CGI, and it looks so fake. It looks like PlayStation 2 graphics. But other than that, it is cool to see Superman fly around and do some different stuff. Lois Lane is played by Kate Bosworth, and look, I'm not here to say that Kate Bosworth is a bad actress. I'm not. I think she's a good actress. I think she's even decent in this movie. But the problem is that you're comparing her to Margot Kidder. And Margot Kidder was very sassy, very just in your face, had energy, had that thing about her that just Kate Bosworth doesn't have. If she was her own Lois, if this was a brand new Lois, and you're telling me that this is what she's doing, I might buy it more. But if I'm comparing it, if this is in the same continuity, it doesn't work. The only similarity is that they're both Lois Lane in name, and that she smokes cigarettes. That's really it. The fact that she is upset with Superman, though, for leaving the way that he did, I do sympathize with her for that. And I do like the fact that she moved on and she's with Richard, played by James Marsden, who's just a nice guy, a stand-up guy, a good guy. You almost want him to be a dick because I think the story's trying to tell me to root for Lois and Clark to get back together, but he's such a good guy. It's like, no, I don't really want to see that happen. I think Superman should move on. Stop following them to their house. Stop seeing through their walls and listening to their conversations and stalking them. It's weird. Move on, dude. You had Lois. You made her forget, and you wanted her to live her life, and she did that. So let it be. And the fact that they have a kid together, it's interesting when the movie reveals that this kid is actually Superman's kid. And I know some people hated that, but that's where they are trying to progress this story, trying to move forward with, hey, Superman's a father now. That's certainly different. You haven't really seen that before. So I thought it was interesting. I don't love the fact, though, that once again, he slept with Lois in the second movie, then made her forget about it, then took off, didn't know that he impregnated her, I guess. She gets pregnant, thinks it's Richard's son, but then when she finds out it's Superman, she doesn't really have a weird reaction. She's just kind of like, oh, well, I guess it's his. The moment where he throws the piano on Lex's henchman, I'm like, yeah, more of that. Speaking of villains, speaking of Lex Luthor is played by Kevin Spacey, which I'm not going to talk about the stuff with Kevin Spacey, at least not right now. But Kevin Spacey cast as Lex Luthor makes sense. It's great. He actually shaved his head, which is something Gene Hackman never wanted to do. He shaved his head. He looks the part. He has scenes where he's menacing and when he does play the Lex. But he has to continue the Gene Hackman Lex. So it's not 100%. There's something a little off about his Lex. I still think it's good. It's just, I think he could have been more vicious. I think he could have been more calculated. Wrong! His whole plot with this land and the Kryptonite land, I just don't care. What is it with Lex and this real estate and this whole obsession with land? I'm over it. It feels regurgitated. Even him going back to the Fortress of Solitude. Like, we've done this with the character already. Nothing new. Nothing new. The fact that Cal Penn plays one of his henchmen and he doesn't say a word is weird. Parker Posey playing the fake Miss Tessmacher, really, that's where her character is. And I don't see the point of her being here really at all. The action scenes, there could have been more action. You do get the airplane scene, like I said. Superman on the roof being shot at by the machine gun and then even shot in the eye with a bullet. And the end when he's trying to stop all the chaos in Metropolis from going on. Like, there's some cool moments, but I guess I just wanted to see Superman go up against a formidable threat. Somebody like Metallo, somebody like Brainiac. Please, why is the studio so against? using Brainiac. Hell, Doomsday. I know it would have been weird to bring Superman back and do Doomsday, but it would have been better probably than what we got. I don't want to sound like I'm ranting or hating on this movie. I don't. I guess when I'm marathoning these Superman movies and I'm picking apart the good from the bad, this one just felt like it was there. This one just felt like we were going through the motions. It was cool to see Marlon Brando back as Jor-El. It was cool that Jimmy Olsen got a little bit more to do. They teased the hell out of the death of Superman with him in the hospital and the whole city crowd around it. Like, stuff like that was interesting. Again, different, but just not enough. I wanted this movie to go further. I wanted this movie to really come out there with a bang and bring Superman back in a way that where people were like, wow, that was cool. We even have Superman and Lois flying through the city again, and I haven't seen that a bunch of times. So guys, sorry if it sounded like I was crapping all over this movie, because I don't hate it. I don't think it's terrible. I want to love it. I want to like it more, and I don't. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Superman Returns? Do you like it more than I do? Or do you agree that it's just sort of middle of the road? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!